I gotta say, it's a disappointing day for me in the mountain bike world, in the bike world in general, I should say, because I was on online and I saw a comment from somebody on another post about a budget bike that's coming out. Um, I'm not gonna say no names. I'm not gonna say the bike or whatever. But I'm just disappointed because the comment said, "This is great because now we can try to get people off the Ozark trash." And it was from a creator that I don't know personally, but we talk over the internet and chat back and forth and stuff. And he actually mentioned a few times how the Ozark Trail was pretty cool, how it has some cool features. It's gonna be cool with the new Shimano stuff on it. And for me to see that, I was a little disappointed. And it's not even about the Walmart bike. And that's what a lot of people think this is about. It's about the collateral damage of the situation. And what I mean by that is I ran across so many people who have Ozark trails. I was at the Trek headquarters riding Trek's trails, and a kid had an Ozark trail out there. And he really loved that bike. He was talking about the new fork he was about to put on there, the new brakes he was about to put on there. He could wheelie that thing and everything. So for him to be able to get a bike for such a low cost that he can do that kind of stuff with, he's learned to wheelie on that thing. He looked like he was just having the time of his life. I even actually got on the bike and wheelied it because I was so excited, and I'd never ridden a Ozark Trail Ridge before, so I wanted to check it out. So I got on it and I did a wheelie myself. But what I mean by collateral damage is it's kids who ride those bikes, and for somebody to say that has influence in the bike community, it's just disappointing because imagine if a kid saw that and think he was riding a trash bike. He saw somebody say, "Oh, that bike is trash. You don't need to ride that." I don't know. This whole influencer thing is, I think it's gotten overboard. I know a lot of people get mad at me. As you can see, I got so many bikes behind me. I don't have skin in the game on it with any bike, which is why I have so many bikes behind me because I could talk about whichever bike I want to talk about. And I feel like if it's relevant to you and it could help you out, that's what I talk about. It's not about me. I want to make it to where cycling or mountain biking or whatever you want to call it is a lifestyle. And I don't think a lot of people care about that aspect of it. Now, there are some Walmart bikes, well, I will tell you to steer clear of, mostly all of them, if I'm being honest. I wouldn't recommend any bike from Walmart unless it's the Ozark Trail. Those are the bikes that I can stand behind and I know that are pretty good quality. It's pretty standard aluminum, but it's stiff, it's rugged, and it holds up. And that's all that matters in my opinion. And I think that's all that matters to most average people trying to get a decent bike. And not only does this go for the kids, but it goes for you as well. If you want to check out an Ozark Trail and you got people that's telling you it's trash, especially people with an audience, I just don't think that's a good idea. Because if you don't like the bike, just don't say anything. It's not trash. If it was trash, I wouldn't talk about it. There is some value with that bike. There's no bike you can get for that price with the capabilities and the upgrade ability that you can get with that bike. Now I can see if it was falling apart and it was literally trash, but it's a really good bike. The whole Ozark Trail lineup is good. The flat bar gravel bike, the drop bar gravel bike, the hardtail, the full suspension, and it's just disappointing to see people that's supposed to be advocates for people getting on bikes saying that it's trash just because it came from Walmart. Like I say, I don't care where the bike comes from. If it's a decent bike and it's a decent price, I want to tell you about it because I want you to be out riding, enjoying your life, getting in shape, living a healthy lifestyle just like me. I love riding my bikes. I ride them everywhere. So just to see people try to degrade people for not riding bikes that they would deem good enough to ride, man, it's sad honestly. It's really not that serious. It's just a bike. I just don't get where that internal rage or that internal, I don't know, hate for these bikes come from. It don't make no sense to me. Now you hear these people saying, "Oh, the bike industry is struggling. Nobody's buying bikes," and all of this kind of stuff. So tell me why every time the Ozark Trail comes in stock, it sells out immediately. You can't even keep the bikes in stock. The people are telling you what they want, and for some reason, they hate them. They hate these bikes. If they were trash and people didn't want them, or people felt like it wasn't good enough, they wouldn't buy them. People are literally buying these things. They're flying off the shelves. You can't even keep them in stock. So that alone should tell you something, and that's what I don't get. I've never seen so many people trash a bike that can't even stay in stock. What kind of sense does that make? That's probably literally the only bike that's out there, the only mountain bike that's out there that can't stay on the shelf. So that alone right there is just it blows my mind that people say that. And I want to know from you, if you one of those people that feel like that, what deems it as trash? That's what I don't get. What makes the bike trash? I really want to understand where that comes from. I had some people telling me it's not serviceable or you can't do this and that to it. And I'm like, I don't know what bike you talking about. I'm about to put a whole Shimano wireless drivetrain, brakes, wheels, and everything on this bike. I don't know what Walmart Ozark Trail you talking about. So I think a lot of these people are just ignorant to the fact that Walmart is actually putting out good bikes now, and it's kind of crazy that it took Walmart coming out with a bike that's capable, upgradable at an affordable price. And don't get me wrong, $898, that's still a lot of money, especially to the average person. But if you know anything about bikes and you see what this bike has, you know that it's well worth the money, which is why it can't stay stocked. And it sells out immediately every time it comes back online. So the fact that they say that lets me know that they're just ignorant to the whole situation. Now bike brands are trying to come out with budget bikes, but I still don't even think it's worth it. They got the new Nuke Proof coming out. I think the top spec one is $900 or $1,000, something like that. I don't even know if they'll sell it in the United States. But from what I've seen, I don't think that's worth $1,000. And I could be wrong, but from what I was seeing online and the specs, and people say, oh, the frame quality and this and that, nobody knows what that means. Nobody cares what that means. As long as the bike is not falling apart on the trail, that's all the average person cares about. I got so many bikes in here right now, and I couldn't tell the difference between any of the frames. I just ride them. So I'm guessing that's 90% of other people too. So for people to say that, I still don't get that either. I mean, I know there's different levels of aluminum and stuff like that. I get that. But that's not a selling point for people. As long as the bike is functional, it won't snap in half when you're riding it. That's all people care about. I also had, what's that, a 2001? Where's that bike at? The Schwinn Homegrown over there. I rode that bike on modern trails. That bike shredded. So for a, my math is bad, 25-year-old bike, for it still to be able to shred like that, I don't see the issue with this Walmart bike. It's made in Taiwan, where a lot of these other bikes are made. Probably in the same place as these other bikes are made. Might be little adjustments with the aluminum layout and how it's manufactured and stuff. There might be a little bit higher quality aluminum, which makes it lighter. But other than that, I don't see the difference that justifies the huge price discrepancy between the Ozark Trail and your entry level full suspension mountain bike, other than the Polygon Siskiyou T6. The Polygon Siskiyou T6 is the best deal you could get on a full suspension mountain bike, in my opinion, outside of the Ozark Trail dual slalom. Not the dual slalom, the Ozark Trail fast flow. But these are the kind of things that make people not want to even get into cycling, mountain biking, gravel biking, anything like that, because of comments like that, especially coming from people who have influence. It's just ridiculous. You want the companies to stay in business and people to get on bikes and stuff, but then you call bikes trash. It don't make no sense to me. If it's not the bike you deem good enough, then people shouldn't ride it. I don't get it. I got I got a Fuji, I got a Marin, I got an Eminent, a Breezer, a Trek, Intense, Superior, SE bikes, Polygon, Mongoose. I mean, I got every kind of bike you could think. Priority. I got all kind of different bikes in here. So I'm not biased to any bike. I'm biased to people getting on bikes at a reasonable price and being able to enjoy it without getting criticized. I know I'm just passionate about this because it's not about the Walmart bike. People can't afford the bikes that a lot of people are trying to push on them. And a lot of people don't even have bike shops in their area. Small towns and stuff, you don't have bike shops. You got Walmart, and then if you order online, you see Walmart got a full suspension bike at a good price. You end up getting that. So a lot of it is they don't even have the access to the bikes that you even trying to mention unless it's direct to consumer. And even then, people don't even know enough about mountain bikes to know what any of this new stuff means. So it's just all messed up. I don't get why people can't just be happy to see people on bikes. Every time I see somebody on a bike, just because I ride bikes, I look at the bike, but I'm genuinely happy that they're just on a bike. I look at the bike just to see what kind of bike they're on because I think it's fun. But I'm genuinely happy when I see people on bikes. And I'll give you one more example of why trash bikes could be the bike for you because when you got a fancy mountain bike, especially a carbon mountain bike, even when I put my bike on the bike stand, when I clamp it down, I always forget I got to do the seat post. Sometimes I like to clamp it on the top tube, and I clamped it a little bit. I guess it was a little too tight, and I heard like a crackling sound, and I was so nervous that my frame cracked. And that's one thing about carbon. You got to be super delicate, even when you mount stuff on the handlebars. If you have carbon handlebars, you got to make sure you don't clamp it too tight because you'll snap that carbon. So you could potentially spend a whole bunch of money on a bike and clamp something down too hard on it and ruin the frame. So that's another reason why it's just so nice to be able to have an option like the Ozark Trail Fast Flow. It's something that you can beat up, you can ride around, not have to worry about it, scratching it up and this and that. And it's still durable where you don't have to worry about it breaking. And you worry less about breaking the bike and more about riding. But with these fancy bikes, you worry more about, oh, did I snap a wheel? Did I snap a derailleur? Did I charge my battery to my wireless shifting? Did I crack my carbon? It's too much and you can't even focus on riding. So having a fancy bike is not all what it's hyped up to be. It's stressful. And it takes longer to get on the trail because the more fancy stuff you have, the more fancy stuff you got to take care of. So yeah, you're probably better off having a trash bike, honestly. I'll take a trash Ozark Trail Fast Flow any day, and that's coming from me riding all these bikes. It rides perfectly fine. I just don't get the big deal, and it really disappoints me that they can say a bike like that is trash when I see so many people riding around the neighborhood, riding, commuting. I see a lot of Ozark Trail drop bar gravel bikes with people commuting. It's it's sad because people just want to ride a bike. They don't want to have to worry about all this nonsense, and you got people like that just can't respect them just being on a bike. It's because you don't like it or you don't want it. It's a problem. So yeah, and that explains why the industry is the way it is because obviously mountain bikes are selling. The Ozark Trail Fast Flows are flying off the shelves, selling out the frame, and and you see other bikes sitting for months and months and months. Like the saying goes, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Just like this Trek I got. Obviously, however it ended up in the pawn shop, it ended up there. So somebody didn't care about it enough to sell it for what I would say it was worth, which is definitely over $1,000. I think it was worth used, but retail is selling right now for about 2,000. They sold it for, I mean, maybe a couple $100 to the pawn shop, and I was able to swoop in. It meant the world to me, that bike, but it obviously didn't mean anything to them, or not enough anyway, for them to try to pursue the amount of money that I think is worth. So I was able to get it for $400. $2,000 bike for $400. So some people just don't value things the same way you do, and you just got to respect that. But just because they don't value it as much as you do, doesn't mean it's not good enough. That bike is well good enough. The Trek, it's actually better than, well, I can't say it's better than my Marin, because the Marin is just it's a whole different bike. I use that as like my legit commuter, but I use the Trek Domani as if I want to ride miles and miles. But yeah, just because somebody don't like the Ozark Trail Fast Flow doesn't mean it's not a good enough bike. I'm here to tell you, it is a good enough bike, and I can't wait to get all those Shimano parts on there to really transform this bike. But that's all I wanted to say. I just feel disappointed. I don't really think that's how the community should be, but unfortunately, it is what it is. But I'm here to tell you, if you want to get that bike, it's definitely worth it. Don't let anybody talk you out of it. It's not trash. If it was trash, the thing wouldn't sell out every time it comes available. And that's why I shifted more towards the gravel bike and the just the lifestyle riding scene. Because first of all, it's easier to ride those bikes. You could go straight out your front door. There's no planning, no tuning up the bike, all this suspension tuning and all that. Don't have to worry about any of that. And it's just more of a lifestyle. It's easy to ride, a lot cheaper than a mountain bike, and it's fun. It's fun riding bikes that are just fast and you can fly on those things. So yeah, that's why I've shifted more towards that, because I think that's more of my crowd. I want to make an impact to where people just enjoy riding bikes no matter what it is, and the ease of riding is the attraction. No friction. You can just grab the bike and go. And that's what I really love about these kinds of bikes. I still mountain bike, but the gravel bikes, they they just make the most sense for the average person, in my opinion. But a mountain bike is definitely fun. It's just a lot harder to go out and do. But that's all I want to say. I'm a little disappointed, but it is what it is. I'll get over it. But I just worry about the collateral damage. I don't want people thinking that if they get an Ozark Trail that they've done something wrong. You've done the perfect thing. You got a bike that's great, that's affordable, and it's not your fault that other bike brands don't want to do that. Walmart had to swoop in and really show people that people want to buy bikes. They just don't want to buy them at ridiculous prices.